Hello Gainers, I'm Ralphie, your host here at Fitter Philosophy, welcoming you to another episode of some philosophical monologue to help you to address your own philosophy, your personal philosophy, and this is basically the best philosophy there is for you, because we are not Greek philosophers, we are not academics, most of us are not impressive intellectuals, we're nothing like that. And we have to basically work with the tools that we've got. But there are little things, simple things that can help us with this. And I've got a truck turning here. So literally as soon as I start the video, it's totally quiet, no one's around, and then a vehicle appears. That's not been intrusive, not by a long chalk. I'm just glad I'm not in a city centre. I'm somewhere beautiful. It's in the middle of the Irish Sea. It's a little island called the Isle of Man, and it's a bit old-fashioned and charming, and although sometimes it can be in the wrong way, often it's in the right way. And I must say I quite enjoy living here and enjoying the environment. And within the environment there is a certain few spots where you can find stillness, a genuine, substantial peace and quiet, and you don't have to travel far to find it. And the thing is that we all live in the modern world, living modern lives with the constant white noise and intrusiveness, deliberate intrusiveness of media, messaging, DMs, Facebook, YouTube videos, you name it, all crowding to grab our attention, hold our attention till we get distracted by something else, and then we move on to the next distraction. However, I would like to suggest that it is a very good idea to find a real quiet space for yourself, by yourself, with yourself, and I'm going to tell you the reason why. We cannot find stillness in our lives and the benefits that come from stillness until we find stillness within ourselves. And the best place to start, Gainers, is finding a place which is still. It may be a quiet room in your own house, it may be a secluded corner in a local park, it may be a particular time of day, say a Sunday morning when things are quiet and you go for a walk, a solitude walk around your neighbourhood, depending on how you're restricted with the recent pandemic, which is still ongoing. But a bit more about that in another video where I can give more perspective. To find stillness in our lives is something that we don't understand the value of until we have it. Some things in life we don't know they're missing until we realise that they're not actually there. Do you know what I mean? Let me explain. I had a friend who was a very, very busy woman. She was involved in publishing and the book scene and attending events and signings and promotionals and openings and bookshops and all the rest of it. And she was what you would describe very, very busy professional, using all the hours that the day could provide and filling every last minute. She was, typical lady, very, very organised and had everything with a military precision. But it wasn't until she tumbled down a flight of stairs and broke her leg that she suddenly found herself in bed, at home, having been released from the hospital, and then things started to really play on her mind. She was no longer in her routine, in her schedule, in her organised and very heavily managed daily life, and it really shook her up. And initially she went on to antidepressants, but soon realised they were poisoning her and therefore came off them. But she needed something to do, a way to step aside so that she could address this rising feeling of ill ease she had within her, at missing out and not being part of what she was so used to being a part of. So she went for a weekend holiday to a cottage, and what she didn't know when she hired it, it looked very charming and it had car access, and she could get her wheelchair in the front door, and she'd organised all that. But she hadn't realised it was a bit off the beaten track and it had no electricity. And the generator had no fuel. So she had no electricity apart from what was in the battery of the car. This meant that she had to spend the whole weekend only keeping the phone for emergencies, having to use candles and a torch for light, and having to go out and find wood lying about in the fields to light a fire to get heat, to boil a kettle to get some hot water. And she found the situation life-changing. I had a conversation with her about it afterwards, but she never really fully explained. And I think the reason is simple, is that she never quite fully understood how profound and spiritual, not in a religious context, nothing like that, but in a holistic context, how spiritual the whole experience of suddenly leaving the routine and the shock of it, and then discovering the deeper meaning of life. And when we as individuals, as living things, actually connect with the planet itself beyond the bright lights and the white noise and all the cacophony, good word that, the cacophony of noise and intrusion that we have in our lives. And it changed her, not significantly, but just enough that she took more time out for herself, she organised less conventional things, and she improved dramatically her quality of life. And whatever our circumstances, wherever we are and whatever we are doing, we can do the same. We need to step aside. I've mentioned it in a previous video, but it's so important, gainers, so important that it's worth mentioning again, that when we step aside and discover a quiet space somewhere, anywhere, that is when we can connect with the powerful, empowering silence within ourselves and just give it recognition. Acknowledge it, because when we understand it by experiencing it, we can then develop it and improve our lives. And when we do, we improve the lives of everyone around us, because we're all part of the humanoid collective. I'm Ralphie. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you've liked it, click like, comment, subscribe, clicky belly, all the stuff, you know. And we'll see you again soon for another episode of Fitter Philosophy. I am Ralphie, over and out, leaving you with the view. And remember, it's your life. You're responsible. Make the most of it. Do not wait. Seize the day. Just saying.